Okay. Well, welcome everybody to my first podcast. This is crazy. Let me get one thing, I'm sure you're all wondering, out there. I'm sure you're wondering why the title is The Pickle Tree. And let me just get that out of the way before it's a huge question and I have to explain it multiple times or explain it later. This way you get started knowing basically what this is going to be all about and everything. So the Pickle Tree, the title comes from my childhood, actually. I went up to my grandmother one day, and back in the day, I loved pickles. I loved pickles so much. And I would eat a whole entire jar, within a given day, throughout the day, of course, but, you hand me a jar of pickles and I'm gonna eat the whole damn thing. And I go up to my grandmother and I tell her, I want a pickle tree. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I want a pickle tree. And the idea was that I had that you would just grab a seed from a pickle and you would plant it and grew a tree that bared pickles. And it's such a crazy imaginative thing. I don't know where I came up with it. I don't know if I was fully aware that pickles were just pickled cucumbers and all that it would grow, if it grew at all, would just be a cucumber plant. Or I was just really, really, really stupid. And yeah, it was just one of those things that's always been in my memory, how weird of an imagination I've had for my whole life, just by always thinking of completely impossible and unreachable things, but being able to explain how they would work almost as if they're actually possible. It's thinking outside of the box while you could see outside of the box, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's where the name comes from, and I chose this title because I had a poll going. It's technically still going, but 2 people voted for the pickle tree and 1 person voted for something weird like Tovar's perception. And when I first had the idea of starting a podcast, I always was thinking, I'll just call it the Pickle Tree. But I wasn't sure if I really wanted to keep that title or, go with something else. And yeah, it ended up being just the Pickle Tree. It's really an interesting title, and I very much like it. The plan for this podcast is to be more of a just me talking, me rambling for a while, because when I talk, I end up telling one story after another, and it can be anything from very random stuff to, like I said, being very imaginative of unreachable and uncapable things. But yeah, at the same time, I can explain it in a way that it would work. If, life wasn't limited on its physics or capabilities. In a perfect world, it would work. But opinions on movies, reviews or whatever, and just overall my life stories. If anything, this is more of an audio journal, and the reason why I wanted to start it as a podcast was to basically reach out to more people and make it more public, but in a way that like they could just turn on Spotify, be following me on Spotify or Apple Podcast or Google Podcast or whatever they want to do. Basically open it up and just start basically quote unquote reading my journal and getting more of a personal feel of like the kind of person that I am, because I meet so many amazing and awesome people, even sometimes like, assholes and jerks and whatnot, but like for the majority of the time I'm always meeting these amazing people, but I feel like I'm just telling the same story to each and every individual again and again and again. And what my goal is to reach out to the world, so that way if I were to meet someone else and they wanted to know more about me, all I would have to say is like, dude, just listen to my podcast. And they would listen to it. Or if they're already a listener, they would be able to come up to me almost as if they knew me their whole entire life. The only difference is that I wouldn't know anything about them. So I definitely want to encourage people to do something like this, because I feel like it's going to be very therapeutic for me to be able to express myself, get a lot of personal stories just out there for the world to hear, and kind of like open up like an open book in the middle of a library that anyone can read. And I encourage anyone else to do this, especially if you deal with like a lot of hardships, a lot of drama, depression, or anything, anxiety. Just, it's as easy as going on this website that I'm using, Anchor. Anchor is amazing. It's just like one site that you're able to start a podcast for free, and it distributes it to all over the different platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcast and Google Podcast and whatever. And it would I accidentally activated my phone's AI. I don't want to say her name again, but it will do all this, and it's all for free, and it would distribute that all for free. So it's an amazing website. So definitely go to anchor.fm to start your own podcast. It's a great website. And whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're going through, just talk about it and open up, talk about your life and everything. Make a personal journal. I actually met a person in high school during my multimedia class in quote unquote super senior year, when I was held back 1 year in high school due to just pure poor attendance. I had poor attendance because of bullying issues, and I just had school anxiety. So without the issues of bullying and without that anxiety that built up inside me to go to school, because I was afraid of those people, I probably would have graduated like 3 years early had my attendance been perfect, but it wasn't. But I'm thankful because I got the opportunity to take a multimedia class and get to where I was today. Anyways, as I was saying, I met this girl in my multimedia class, and she was an amazing person. I had the biggest crush on her. She had a boyfriend, and that's a whole dramatic story I can maybe get into in a future episode. But she told me, start a journal. And I hate writing traditionally. I hate drawing out things. And if I were to write out my feelings and draw my feelings and everything, people would always get like really worried about me if I was like gonna commit suicide or do some like homicidal thing, because I would write down how I felt. But it was so I didn't act upon those things and I wouldn't bubble up like a soda bottle and explode. So I always hated keeping a journal, but she actually gave me her journal, and I had it for like 3 or 4 days. And every night I would come back from school and I would just take the time to read it. And I was so honored that she would trust me with something like that. And that's when I knew I actually fell in love with her. But sadly it didn't work out. And yeah, that was pretty hard. But it was like, I could tell that it was a very therapeutic thing. She was able to get all of her feelings out and everything like that. So that's one goal that I want to do this with, like just being able to express myself, tell my life stories, tell everything, because she was talking about stuff from way in the past, and talking about her life stories, talking about her favorite memories, and just even like a movie that she watched. Like she gave a actual review right in the journal, because I believe she started it before like social media was like a huge thing, except for like MySpace. And back in the day, like parents didn't want us on MySpace because there was like a lot of catfishes out there, and like internet publicity and social media was like such a scary thing back in the day for everybody. And now, like, you can find 7-year-olds making Fortnite videos on YouTube and everything, and, teenagers becoming, like, huge professional gamers on Twitch, and, just, young teenagers being popular on, like, TikTok and Instagram, and it's crazy how, we've developed, and I think this is the best way, that I can do this. If anyone would benefit out of like listening to a podcast like this, it would be, if you were to make one, it would be your counselor. And for me, it's probably going to be my counselor. I'm going to definitely link him to this, because then he'll be able to find out more about me and everything. And let me talk about him. He's an amazing counselor. Like, oh my gosh, I've had him in my life 3 times. I had him when I was a kid, and then he had to change offices, and he wasn't able to take my insurance anymore. And so I wasn't able to see him anymore for a while. Then my grandmother contacted him again, because he was like the only counselor that was like really good with me. And he just started seeing us for free and everything. And there was one time where like I had some sort of argument with him, but it was like during a very hard time in my life, and a hard time with my family, and I had a fallout with him, and I didn't want to see him anymore, and I stopped seeing him for a while, and I went to every other counselor, and something was missing from all of them. And so I went back to him very recently, like for the past year or two, and he's an amazing person. And what's unique about him is that I can talk to him like he's my friend more than he is like a counselor, because counselors like to do this thing where they get up in your face and they're like, how does that make you feel? And tell me about this. Tell me about this. What were your feelings during that? And they would just hound you, and they would pry you and try to focus on this one thing that you're obviously struggling with, but they want to hear more, and they want to see how you react. And it's just bringing up like these bad things. Whereas he talks to me like he's my friend. And we just have normal conversations, and those situations just happen to come up, and he'll talk about them. But when he sees that it's kind of upsetting me, he'll either make a joke or he'll move on from the conversation and start something else. And it's amazing. He's an amazing counselor. And I think if anyone were to benefit out of listening to this, it would be him, out of everyone. And my friends too. My friends, if they listen to this, they'll know a lot more about me, because even though like I have a lot of friends and I consider every friend that I make my best friend, I feel like there's a lot that a lot of my friends don't know about me. Don't know why I have the name Tovar, don't know anything about my childhood, the hardships I went through, and the family drama that I've had and everything like that. It's crazy. And yeah, I'm really excited for this podcast to get going and everything, and I hope you're excited too. I'm planning on recording these to be like 30 minutes of me straight talking, no cuts, no edits, nothing. Just 30 minutes of me straight talking and nonstop, because I just don't know how to fucking shut up. But it's like I don't have a plan, and I like going with that. Like I have a basic idea of what I want, but I don't want to plan it out. I don't want to start every episode with some sort of intro like, hey, welcome to the pickle tree, pick a pickle and take a sittle or whatever. Like, just, I'm going to start recording and I'm going to start talking, and then once it gets close to 30 minutes, I'm going to say thank you for listening. Be sure to follow and everything like that. But like, I don't have a plan for every episode. I don't have a certain subject I'm going to focus on unless I really want to focus on a certain thing. I don't want to plan things out. I don't want to be like, okay, 2 weeks from now, I got to talk about this. Like, no, just record whenever. And that's another thing too. I don't plan on having an upload schedule for this. It's just, when I record something, I'll upload it. And there's a chance that I could record like 3 episodes in 1 week or even a given day. So there's always going to be something to listen to with this podcast. There's always going to be something, because 30 minutes isn't long. But the reason why I chose 30 minutes was so that people could listen to my podcast on the way to work or whatever, and I figure like 30 minutes is like the longest distance that anyone would ever travel to go to work or anything like that. And God forbid you're like on a trip on a Amtrak or on a bus or whatever, and the trip is longer, then you can listen to multiple episodes but have that break in between, so that you could like do something else and get my annoying voice out of your head. I figure that 30 minutes is like a really good thing. Like, even during a break, if you're working and you want to listen to me during your lunch break, I figure it's perfect. And then you'll learn something new about me. You'll be able to listen to an episode every time you have a break. But yeah, wow. There's so much to talk about. I also plan on having guests on this. I have a lot of friends that I'm sure would love to be part of my podcast, that I could just either, talk to them normally, or have a normal conversation, maybe play a game or would you rather or whatever, or just talk about like what they do or who they are. I met some amazing people in my life that I would love to go up to personally and just say, hey, what do you do? What is your channel? Where can people find out more about you? What made you start all this and everything like that? And I figure that would make some interesting things and bring some publicity to them. It's crazy. Like, I wouldn't imagine that there's any like reason for, what was I saying? I'm sorry. This is gonna happen a lot, where I just lose my track of mind, train of thought, whatever. But yeah, I'm not really a popular person at all. I have about like, as of this recording, I have about like maybe 367 subscribers on YouTube, and like only no more than like 50 followers on like Twitter, and I don't know, even Instagram. I don't even pay attention to that or any of that junk. I'm not a popular person. I usually just, meet people and they find me or whatever, and I hand them my business card. I can't tell you how many times I've found my business card like on the ground after I've handed it to somebody at like a Pokemon Go event, and like somebody just threw my business card on the ground or whatever, crumpled it up. And I mean, it's heartbreaking, but my idea is somebody who will pick up litter will see that and be like, oh man, I gotta check this guy out. But yeah, it's weird that I started this when I don't have a following, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to reach out to more people this way too. That's one goal of mine. So yeah, I'm not sure how many of you can see the art that I did for it. That was a digital painting that I did literally like not only like 20-30 minutes ago, and it took me, I finished it like 20 or 30 minutes ago, and that's how it's like 21 minutes right now. I literally just finished it, and it took me about like 3 hours to do, and it was a digital painting, and I wanted something like very simplistic and very like hand drawn, but at the same time kind of nice looking. So I wasn't trying to make it like look perfect, because nothing in life is perfect. And then there's like my little bleeding eyes character, and we'll get into that more. We'll get into what got me into doing all this and everything like that in later episodes and everything like that. But I figured I'd talk about the podcast, talk about why I'm doing this and everything like that in this episode, and talk about what inspired me to do this. One of the hugest inspirations to me was a podcast that I still listen to, even though they're done and over with, was Sleepycast with Stamper TV, Oni NG, Psychic Pebbles, and other great, amazing YouTubers. And all they would do is sit down in like a little area, turn on a microphone, and just start talking to each other. And they would scream at each other. They would talk about life stories. They would talk about random shit. Psychic Pebbles would like tell fake lies and stories like that. Stamper would always be like super fucking hilarious and gross sometimes, but it's just such a hilarious podcast. I love them. So if you want to like take the time to listen to them, Sleepycast, they ended a while back ago, but I just love that podcast, and they're a huge inspiration to me. Nothing like that will ever happen on my podcast, I don't think, because all my friends are like really far away. Like I have a couple of friends that live close by, but they would never act like that. The friends that act like that with me are, in New York and California, and in Australia as well, and Texas and everything like that. It's crazy how much the internet like connects us all, and you get to meet so many new people. Stamper follows me on Twitter. It's crazy. Even like so many cool people follow me. 3GI, the people who made Shrek Retold and host Shrekfest, I've met them recently, and they follow me. All of them follow me. Well, not all of them, but like a lot of them follow me now. There's a channel block on Nicktoons that plays all the old 90s Nick shows, and it's like almost like Adult Swim on Nicktoons, and and they follow me for whatever reason. Like, out of all things, a channel block follows me. Like, that's amazing. And I don't know, I don't feel like I deserve the publicity that I even do have, and I wouldn't see myself becoming famous. I don't see myself ever, I don't know, maybe I could get to 1,000 followers, but I wouldn't see myself anywhere like near like 1 million, or, you know, even 500,000 or anything like that. Like, I don't see that happening, but at the same time, like, I might as well not try for it, but like, I don't want to stop doing what I'm doing, because I'm not doing all this for the followers. I'm not doing this to try to become famous. I'm not doing this to try to make money. I've always went into YouTube and went into DeviantArt and everything like that, and I'm going into this with the knowledge of just expressing myself publicly, and not necessarily just trying to make money, because I can always get a job. I can always, you know, beg people for donations or whatever. I can beg people to go onto my Patreon. That, like, I don't think I have any patrons, and I don't have any rewards either for patrons. I gotta get on top of that at some point. Hopefully soon in the future. I don't do this just to become famous and become as famous as PewDiePie, Stamper, Oni, these amazing people. I do this just to express myself and put myself out there, and if people like me and people feel some sort of connection with me, cool. If not, then whatever. It's not a big deal to me. I just want to feel connected to the world, and if I were to have anything, like the biggest dream, the biggest unreachable imaginative thing that I would ever want in my life, other than a pickle tree, of course, is to have everybody in the world not only know my name, but know who I am. And they can hate me, they can loathe me, they can love me, they could be extremely stalkerish to me, and they could just be my best friend. And when I do eventually die, even though I love the idea of being immortal, I would want everybody to be invited to my funeral. And I don't know if that will ever be a thing. I don't know if that would ever happen, that I would ever become that famous, but just imagining it would be such a nice thing, to have a funeral, or a celebration of life rather, that everybody in the world right now would go to. And that's why I really want to be immortal, is to walk the world and meet everybody, and, you know, just see how it all ends. But anyways, I'm getting close to the end. I want to thank you all so much for listening to the first episode. I know I rambled on, and I know I kind of, like, you know, got off topic and everything like that, and lost my train of thought here and there, but I'm hoping that you guys all very much like it. Please check out my other social media. Just look up Tovar Perry on Google, and you'll find everything that is out there. Tovar Perry, TovarPerri. Just search at me on Google if you don't know me already, and you'll find everything about me. And I'm hoping that this podcast becomes something that I'm very proud of, and I'm excited to continue recording episodes. that is the end of the pilot. Have a good one, guys. Thank you all so much. And be sure to add this podcast to your favorites or whatever.